Forspoken is the game of all games. Let's go back to June 11th, 2020. We finally got the huge reveal of Project Athia from PlayStation. Me being crazy excited I knew the game looked very similar to a game I kinda shield, Final Fantasy 15.
See, I didn't know I came here to be disrespected.
I know Final Fantasy 15 has its own set of problems, but at the end of it, I fell in love with it. I even cried about the game. Me being me, I looked even deeper and I was pretty much correct, and exactly the team that gave us Final Fantasy 15. And that is Luminous Productions. See, I'm a big fan of movement in video games. If it's cool, if it's practical, if the movement looks cool, if I can schmoove, you could just take my money right now. Well, I love fighting games so much. Some have tech that push you beyond normal means of moving. Back to modern day reality, Forspoken has a demo dropped on PSN after the Game Awards, and I decided, being stupid and wasting time like I always do, test the game on various different difficulties. Meaning I went through this specific demo over 3 times on all different difficulties. I'll be straightforward. I am super excited. There's a lot I hate about Forspoken. I think the game itself right now from the demo is like a high 8 for me, but there's a few things that make me want to rip my hair out. I would damn near call this a flawed masterpiece, at least for my taste. So I'm here to tell y'all about the Forspoken demo in high detail and compare it to one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, you can roast me, but I like Final Fantasy 15 that much. Forspoken dashboard music is really good. Had me moving a little bit, I ain't gonna lie to you. Okay, dead ass this time. Best thing about the demo is that they provide a Forspoken for Dummies intro. Because if you're not like me, you'll be like, what the hell is this? What is going on here? If you don't know what Forspoken's story is so far, it's an isekai. Yeah, who don't enjoy a good ass isekai, right? So you dropped into the world of Forspoken with a tutorial on how parkour and movement works in Forspoken. Essentially, this is one of the part of the game that I know will get better after you progress even further, and I'm guessing you can completely level it up. It feels like you're in about 4 to 5 chapters deep with many abilities so far. I'll go back into this in more detail later. Forspoken to me is like Spider-Man light. You can travel up buildings and walls, and certain parts you interact with help you progress via slingshots and swings. However, there's a limit to how much you can do it before it runs out. See these 5 diamonds? Yeah, you can use this ability to touch the big red orange like blocks or help you traverse up large scale mountains and terrain. You usually will hit square to activate the animation that will send you higher. However, I will say it kind of reminds me of Kingdom Hearts 3's air step. Remember when we had the air step to Mount Olympus in the game? Or even sometimes on bosses to get around and do some saucy stuff? I think that is really dope. I won't criticize it like I stated earlier right now until the full release, because it does seem upgradable in some way, shape, or form. If it does stay like this in the full game, I'm gonna kind of be tilted, because that was the one thing that made me hype for Forspoken when they first showed it off anyway.
Sorry, Cub.
Put yourself together. Put yourself together.
Dying in Forspoken. Now let's get something I truly hate out the way. I hate respawns in this game. I don't think I've seen a game be punishing like this in years with respawns after death. This damn near feels like old 90s kind of like death, where you die, you gotta start all the way over. If you ain't got no lives, you gotta do the whole level from the beginning over. Forspoken literally makes me save like a madman, like even more than I used to save back then compared to old Pokemon games. I feel like Elden Ring does death better than Forspoken. Like in Elden Ring, I died and I'm like, then this is the next room over, you know, I can get back there. It's gonna take about a couple 10 seconds, you know. But I died in Forspoken in some parts, and literally because my last save was right there, they don't start you before the enemy. They start you from the last save point. So they made me go through hella parkour segments that take about almost a minute or 2 a time just to get back to the point I died at. And then might die again. Also, in Forspoken, I didn't know how to get a lot of dials and stuff to, you know, instantly heal myself. But essentially, you go to these little save houses, their checkpoints and stuff like that give you items and let you craft things. And you can craft more. In the demo, you can hold up to 12 of them in total. But it might be upgradable later in the game. Who knows? Also, another thing I struggle with, which is why I can see people 100% hating on this game, is the camera. Sometimes the camera just tosses like 8 or more enemies in an area and even more at you, and they attack it at different speeds from different angles. And since the camera is very up close and pretty over the shoulder like to Frey, It makes it very frustrating. But the best part of Forspoken is the combat. Forspoken has some of the most interesting combat I've seen from Square Enix. I don't know if this makes sense, but the combat is either an evolution of Final Fantasy 15 and a regression of it at the same time. So in Forspoken Demo, you start off with 2 elemental spells, Freya Magic and Scylla's aka Firebending, and the other one is Earth, okay? We gonna get past it. The real cool part is that each weapon has 3 different styles. You can use Burst Shot, Scatter Shot, and Shield Shot. These are all attack magic. Think about shooters where you could just switch it from auto to semi-automatic as well. Shield Shot lets you have moves where you can move forward with like a giant shield and throw it out at them. It's like some earthbending, pretty dope. The combos also stack in Forspoken, so the more you get good at switching between the wheel of moves and abilities, the better you can have overall with Forspoken combos and the magic usage. Now this is why I get really critical about Forspoken. In Final Fantasy 15, you had 3 other AI helping you fight off a horde of different monsters and enemies. Forspoken, there are times when you have 10 plus random enemies and you can't see all of them attack and hit you. This is why I go into the regression of Final Fantasy 15. Maybe if Forspoken gives us a way to zoom the camera radius out way further, like I stated earlier with the camera being bad, I feel like it would make battles even more bearable with multiple enemies. And the weakest point of Forspoken to me has to be the enemies. I think we 100% need to talk about it. Big problem with the enemies in the game is the enemies Hitstun and Forspoken. Many times in Forspoken, normal attacks have no Hitstun. Until the end of the attack combo chain, they either get knocked down or they might just get pushed back a little bit. This is a huge turnoff for many factors because even though Forspoken has a lot of flash and style, it seems like there's no substance or certain abilities do feel useless. I found myself multiple times with Silica's magic that up close and range melee felt way more risky to pull off, or sometimes it didn't feel worth it. With Ray's magic, the machine gun rock shit goes crazy, especially on the flying enemies. And this leads to my ultimate question. I feel like the reason why I feel this way and why I'm seeing a lot of people being mixed on Forspoken right now is how the demo is structured. So that leads to the final question. Is the Forspoken demo bad? Is the Forspoken demo bad? Legit, I know so many people turned off by this demo because the fact is pretty objective based. It feels very open world, and I feel like a lot of people have open world fatigue with games. A lot of people won't admit it. People just want linearity sometimes with just good, satisfying story and things that happen with them. I'm absolutely tired of open world. I'm gonna be honest with you. Assassin's Creed Valhalla killed that shit for me. And the last time I want to see it is probably, I'm gonna be honest with you, Sonic Frontiers was better than that Assassin's Creed game. I love that. That was dope. And that's more open zone. So far, in the Forspoken demo, you don't need to play all the side objectives to progress, but I've seen this as a complaint as well. The demo seemingly drops you in the early part of the game, or somewhere closer after the beginning-ish. I mean, if you pay attention to the trailers, you know the powers we have compared to the outcome of what we're playing in this demo is completely different. The worst thing about Forspoken is the fisheye menu. I don't understand why they opted for this style. Like, I don't hate it. I'm actually really already used to it because I played this for so many days. I just think it's mad extra. Menus are supposed to have flair and style, but also not distract you so much from not distracting yourself or hating it so much that it makes you want to never hit the pause menu or look at it unless you really need to. It's not really appealing to the eye, and it's kind of weird depending on how your setup is. And it's not like Forspoken is a 3D game, so it's like it just feels very weird overall. But what I just don't get it. I can't defend it. If you want to look at an example of what I think is a cool menu that keeps you very engaged into the game and its style and its world, would be Persona 5's. I mean, I think that game has some of the coolest UI I've ever seen in a video game. So my final verdict is Forspoken is a game that I truly am hyped to see from Luminous Productions. But you can obviously tell that some of the mistakes from Final Fantasy 15 are still in Forspoken, just in different ways. Looking at Luminous Production, I will say this is a huge step up. And looking at their history, we dealt with Final Fantasy 15 and its controversy and a controversial split that has within the Final Fantasy community, switching from Kingdom Hearts 3 from Luminous Engine to Unreal Engine 4. So Forspoken 100% will get criticized, and I think it will get criticized hard when it drops. But I think the game has a lot of cool and interesting mechanics within the game itself. So I would tell everybody, please go judge the final product for yourself. If you want to risk the money on it, you can wait on reviews. But so far, I love this game a lot. I do acknowledge there's some things I personally do not like about it. It ain't the best thing to ever drop in 2023, Because I'm very excited for Final Fantasy 16 and Rebirth if it actually comes out in 2023. I don't believe that. But I know right now, people also hate the voice acting in the game. But like her being from New York and me growing up from the hood of the South Side and stuff like that, made me realize how funny it can be at sometimes. It really don't annoy me until maybe battle, which you can customize and turn on. And the most coolest thing about Forspoken before I end off here is the accessibility. You can control almost everything in the game. For how fast your things regenerate, how things move, how things scale. It's so good. This game reminds me of the accessibility that was in the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which is also an amazing game, by the way. You should go play it. It's probably on sale somewhere. This is not sponsored. But at the end of the day, I do think that accessibility is also a huge factor to why this will gravitate to some people, giving options to deal with things they hate, being able to change it on the fly. That being said, if you enjoyed my little deep dive on Forspoken, follow me on Twitter, avataryayaTV. Hit the subscribe button and like. It takes 2 seconds and it's free for this free, beautiful content, people. And remember, follow me on Twitter, avataryayaTV. And also remember, you guys are golden and that is raw. Squalla, peace, and I'm out. Happy holidays.
I've been the devil, I need me an arc and no water. My breathing, I feel like Tanjiro. Walking this bitch with a zombie, while let you rock it, I keep me a domino. Bitch, on my dick, man, I feel like a Zaki. Stretching that pussy out like it's Pilates. I'm dashing the soul right out of a body. Fire, I spitting, I feel like Dobby. White bitch, blonde hair, looking like Lucy. She from Kyoshi, I paint her face Suki.